Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Kol Haloyim, Adonai Yahweh, Bashem Shamalak Yahushai, Bashem Kakadash, double honors to the apostles and elders, great millstone, peace and salutations to the whole full let, Abba Yashamalak Tawadah. Now to King David, answer to confusion of faces that look like these heathen nations, where identity goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the originally chosen seed line. Shalom. The title of this video is going to be the Lazarus and the Rich Man Breakdown. Okay, so it says in Luke 16:19, there was a certain rich man which was clothed in purple and fine linen, and fared sumptuously every day. And there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, which was laid at his gate, full of sores, desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table. Moreover, the dogs came and licked his sores. And it came to pass that the beggars died and was carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom. The rich man also died and was buried. And in hell he lifted up his eyes, being in torments, and seeth Abraham afar off, and Lazarus in his bosom. And he cried and said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me, and send Lazarus that he may dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue, for I am tormented in this flame. But Abraham said, Son, remember that thou in thy lifetime receivest thy good things, and likewise Lazarus evil things. But now he is comforted, and thou art tormented. And beside all this, between us and you there is a great gulf fixed, so that they which would pass from hence to you cannot, neither can they pass to us that would come from thence. So this story is going in talking about how Jacob is going to rule over Esau and these other heathens, you know. So Esau represents the rich man, because this is his kingdom, and the dogs represent the heathen nations. And I'm going to go into like some etymology, you know, a couple etymologies, couple definitions of words that, you know, that proves that this is true. This breakdown is legit. So, you know, it says like, you know, just to break it down though, like pretty much Esau and these other heathens, they pretty much making money off of us. They making merchandise, you know. They have their top businesses. They, you know, taking out loans, able to invest. When it's coming to Jake, you got some sellouts within Jake. They probably have like a little bigger piece of the pie, but they still get oppressed. Cause look at Bill Cosby. He wanted to buy, I think it was CBS, and they didn't want to sell it to him, even though he had the money at the time. And Michael Jackson tried to do some shit like that too, and they got him killed. Cause they just want to have like a hold over you. They don't want you to buy out a company, you know, that the Jewish people are running. You see? So, it says right here, let me see. Pretty much like when Lazarus was desiring to be fed with the crumbs, that's representing our people. You know, a lot of us Jakes desiring to be fed, probably like, you know, with more money, pretty much. You know, our people under EBT, mostly food stamps, all that other shit, getting government assistance, you know. And it's like, you know, we're struggling. Even these sellout celebrities, they're struggling too. They flexing with a lifestyle, acting like they're rich for the most part. And many of them are not rich. Many of them are actually broke. Many of them are actually loaning that money because they're working under a record label, a record deal. Most of these rappers too. So, yeah. So they're just doing the legwork. So, and it says, you know, what you call it? And the rich man's table pretty much represents, like, a monopoly of, you know, like of his companies or whatever. That how Jake have to work for his companies and we getting, paid like crumbs. We working 9 to 5 jobs for the most part. A lot of Jake's under minimum wage. Even in other countries too, it's a lot worse for them. For Jake's in other countries. Especially they coming from a third world country. And it says right here, the dogs, which represents the heathens. I'm going to this. It says like a metaphor, a man of impure mind, an impudent man. That's what's represented as a dog. So look, it says Luke 16:21 in the Blue Letter Bible, and 2 Peter 2:22, metaphorically in various but always reproachful senses, often so even in Homer, a man of impure mind, an impudent man. So it says 2 Peter 2:22, but it is happened unto them according to the true proverb, the dog is turned to his own vomit again, and the soul that washed to her wallowing in the mire. I know that's for a different lesson, but basically that's an imputing person, like, a person of impure mind. And these heathens, they reject this truth, so they're not able to come to this truth, so they have impure minds. So, and I'm gonna go in the definition of impure. Well, I mean, it's common sense that it's clearly like muddy and not clear. That's, not pure, filthy and foul. And that's how most of these people are in this world that don't have this truth. Even 2/3 of our own people. And impudent is not showing due respect for another person. Impertinent. So basically, these heathens, they don't respect our people. They hate our people. And we're in their stores and buying, Jake want to be in his stores and buying a whole bunch of, you got Eve buying the wigs and the weaves, and then you be in the nail salons, run by mostly Moab and Ammon, and you got them trying to be in a lot of these Chinese food restaurants, and it's just really messed up that they hate our people so much and they make so much money off our people. So, an impudent person is bold, sassy, and shameless. That's what it says. So, usually that's how these heathens are. They're very sassy, I'll say that, for the most part, because they have an attitude when our people are in the stores, and they want to kind of act like they all that, want to call the police on our people, for no reason. These heathens ain't bold enough to fight Jake one-on-one, in a fist fight for the most part. But they're going to be bold enough to call 911, but, just... let me just get back to this lesson. Slovakia. There's another point another kind of word I wanted to point out. And it says, and a lot of people will look at the story and they will say like, oh, this is talking about a doctrine of hell. And Lord, will I make a lesson about hell? Hell is not really like a place where you burn forever. It's the affliction that you go through on earth. It's a condition. Because you know how people say, I'm catching hell, or this is hell? Yeah, it's an affliction. Or sometimes it could also be represented as grave, as Sheol. Because that's a Greek mythology saying that hell is a real fiery place. That's what the Greeks made up. And during the Protestant Reformation, that's what they made up too. I'm not going in depth of that, Lord willing, in another lesson. And it says, look, the etymology.
Strong's G 621, apalacho, Apalacho. Thayer's Lexicon, second entry, epilacho. Epilacho.
All right, epilacho. To look up. So now, I think the point was, okay, Slovakia, for this word, you have to look up the etymology. Yeah, Slovakia. Okay, it says lick, to beat, surpass, overcome. Perhaps form figurative use of lick. So yeah, and it says in the cover of the Bible that you're in sense of defeat, annihilate. And that's pretty much what the heathens did to our people. You know, they surpassed us, they overcame us. So, you know, that's pretty much how our people are. We're defeated in this kingdom. Even if you see a Jake that might be rich, a sellout in a way, he still can't enjoy the full, the fullness of this kingdom, because this kingdom belongs to Esau right now. You know, so, and more in this definition of looking, it's like to outdo or surpass. And that's what pretty much these heathens do to our people as well. They just, they surpass us on this side. When it's coming to like, to wealth.
Strong's G 1668, Helkas. Helkas.
This is Helkas. That's pretty much the definition of sword. Well, in the blue letter Bible, it says, let me see. All right, let me just go to the yes. So when it says sword, and this is pretty much us spiritually, even some conditions of Jakes that they're in because of the work conditions you have to work through. Some of them are suffering bodily pains, but this is us spiritually too, because in a way it's like you work in a 9-to-5 job and that's very draining, and you only make a crumbs out of it. You ain't really making that much, so that's really stressful. You got some Jakes suffering a lot of mental pains. You're suffering and you're stressed out. And these heathens surpassed us. They lick up most of our resources to the point where we're left down to being all sored and afflicted. So we're catching hell. This is the same thing that's going to happen to Esau. These other heathens, but first and foremost Esau. He's going to be the one suffering. And that's what Salakia. And that's what Yasharahla was saying with this story that he was giving out. How when Esau is going to be tormented in the flame, that's when his ass is going into slavery. Our people served, our people was in it. Esau got to do the same thing too. And we're going to see his red ass in captivity for 1,000 years. That's exactly what's going to happen. And one thing I find as a little bit as it's kind of a spirit in a way that word sword go into, it's called Helkas, and you see the word hell in it, and that really shows you that's affliction. The word hell, because when you catch hell on earth, that's what Jake is doing right now. We're getting afflicted for the most part. And then when Abraham represents like his bosom, pretty much like when Lazarus was resting in Abraham's bosom, that represents when Jake is going to be in peace with the Most High, with the Heavenly Father, when we get the kingdom of heaven. You're going to finally be at peace. No more sorrow, no more pain for our people. But for these heathens, they're going to be the ones to experience all that. And Esau's going to experience the worst. And that's going to be like that for 1,000 years. You know? So, these heathens right now, they're proud, they're prideful, and they're flexing. You know? They're going to be the ones very soon lifting their eyes up in torment. And they're going to be begging for mercy. They're going to be the ones hungry. They're going to be the ones starving, thirsty, tired, bleeding, crying, in pain. We're not going to care, because the Lord is going to put a spirit upon our people to not care. You know, because when we served our captivity, they didn't care. There was no way, and the Lord promised that nobody's going to buy us, nobody's going to redeem us from it. And they're not going to be redeemed either. These heathens are not going to be redeemed. Only after 1,000 years, you know, that's when their slavery will be over. You know, working on a cotton field, the same shit they did to us is going to be 1,000 times worse for them, you know, and even doubled upon Esau's head. So, yeah, you know, and Esau did receive, like, you know, because it's a blessing, and according to Genesis 27 was the fatness of the earth. He did receive a lot of good things, and Lazarus, which is Jake, received mostly bad things. We received mostly oppression, you know, but we're going to be comforted in the kingdom, and that's when they're going to be tormented, because Esau right now is living in somewhat of his utopia. This is a utopia for these Edomites. Right now, this is a little bit of a dystopia for Jake, you know, but soon it's going to be it's going to be a twist. We're going to live we're going to live in the kingdom of heaven, which is going to be a utopia for Jake. The only requirement is the laws and commandments. And then when it's coming to Esau and these heathens, they're going to be living in dystopia for 1,000 years. Yep. And they're going to be tormented by that flame, which is their captivity. So, you know, so Yasharahla, like when he gave the story, he wasn't really talking about two specific people. He was just talking about a story that's symbolic to what we're going to experience on the next side in the kingdom, and what we're experiencing now. So basically how we're catching hell now, us Jakes, and, you know, and in the kingdom our people are going to be in peace with the Lord, and we're going to be the ones comforted. And Esau and these heathens, they're comforted right now, but they're going to be the ones tormented. And, you know, you even see some poor Edomites out there doing bad in their own kingdom, and that's like them being two-time losers, because in the next side, it don't matter if you was a poor or a rich Edomite. You know, same thing for these other heathens. You know, if you're a heathen, your ass is in slavery. You know, that's how it is. You know, right now they flexing, they balling on us. Very soon we're gonna be balling on them, and they're gonna have to work for our big industries. And another thing I'll give this last precept, another thing about like how when the dogs came up, you know, to lick our sores, you know, pretty much like you will see when I went to the word how they, you know, pretty much conquered us and defeat us, and how to the point where our people are all fucked up in the head and fucked up, you know, physically and mentally. Even our people resorting to drugs, you know. Then you have Big Pharma, which is ran by mostly Esau, and these other heathens are taking part into that. You know, they're the ones making the most out of the pie chart. because they're the ones owning the businesses, taking out loans and shit like that. And then our people are just the ones that's working on the bottom of we're like on the bottom of the pyramid working. Same thing like a caste system. We're like on the bottom of the pyramid. We're pretty much like Jake is untouchables. I don't give a fuck if that Jake is a Hollywood celebrity. He's still an untouchable, just in a different, maybe like he might have more luxury, but who owns that? How you think they got that? They had to sell themselves out. They had to get it up their ass. They're oppressed. They have to live their life being a faggot just to get all those things. And which is vainglory. So, and our people get fucked up by the pharmaceutical drugs, and by them doing other drugs too. That's illegal. Even though pharmaceutical drugs should be illegal too, because it fucks up our people mentally and which is spiritually the same thing, and physically after a while. So, yeah. And hope I made that lesson edifying. Let's give all glory and praises honor to Adonai, Yahweh, Bashem, Shamalak, Yahweh Shai, Bashem, Rakadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders, great millstone. Peace, salutation to the hopeful elect. Yahweh Bashem, Yashai, Shalak, Rayam, Adawam Yam, Wa, Abad, Babal, Shalom.